Welcome. Oh, I can hear somebody. I can hear somebody. They're okay. I think they're muted now, I think. I'm Erin Ryan. Welcome everyone. Thank you so much. This is Halloween Samhain today, which is really exciting. I didn't know how many of you would be able to hop in today. This was very spur of the moment, but I was reading into the energy and this felt really important to do this. So that's why I'm here to support all of you in this sisterhood and witch wound clearing. So it's going to be both. I'm Erin Ryan. For any of you who might be new to me, I'm known as Six Figure Reiki Rebel. I have founded Five Element Dragonfire Reiki. I have a master's degree in traditional Chinese medicine, a bachelor's in nutrition. I'm very, very passionate about helping healers, and healers are anybody in higher service who has a higher calling, who's ready to bring that vision forward. I'm very passionate about helping healers to heal themselves and also to get wealth into the hands of healers. So I help healers birth the foundation for their business as well. So today, as I said, sisterhood wound and witch wound. Very briefly, I'm just going to talk about what they are, and then we're going to go into the clearing. We'll spend the majority of the time on the clearing process. I will stop the recording after that's done so that anybody who's here live with me who wants to share can share. And that just feels really good to me today to do it that way as opposed to recording the entire thing. So the sisterhood wound and the witch wound, in the way that I'm going to describe it and do the clearing today, they kind of go hand in hand. The witch wound, yes, it is our fear of being visible. It's our fear of coming out of the broom closet, which is adorable. It is our fear of expressing ourselves, our witchy, magical selves. A lot of the times it's the dark feminine that we are afraid to bring forward. And this can go back lifetimes. This is ancestral as well. So it's not necessarily just this lifetime that we're feeling this. And it's not just fear, it's terror. It's terror that we're going to be prosecuted. It's terror that we're going to be killed even. So if you are someone who has struggled maybe your entire life, which is I've seen most healers struggling their entire life, to actually come forward and to be seen and to be visible. This affects every single area of your life. If you do not know how to feel safe while being seen, if you haven't tended to this, because it's going to affect you and your interpersonal relationships too, not just your business, because you're not going to be able to express and share the depth of who you are and your magical abilities. It doesn't even have anything necessarily to do with being like a witch per se or identifying as a witch. It's just about that magic. The sisterhood wound, the way that I'm going to talk about it today, is very much so linked to the witch wound, because back when, women would bind together in ceremony, and it doesn't even have to be that formal, just groups of women coming together. And when you have this, like I literally have chills right now, I have goosebumps. I don't know if you guys probably can't see it, but oh my gosh, like even just saying that, bringing groups of women together, the power is exponentialized. So not even necessarily in like a coven or anything like that, just bringing women together who are in sisterhood, the power that creates, that the ripple effect of that is absolutely extraordinary. And so with the witch wound, what I've been shown is how sisters turned against each other, how they started to get scared. And in order to save themselves, in order to save their families, in order to flee persecution, they turned each other in, even if they weren't necessarily witches, like per se, and even if they were, of course, this is horrible, right? And most of the time they weren't even that. They were just like medicine women, right? And so there's a very, very deep collective wound. I've been working with this wound for years now, both personally and with my clients. And so today of all days, right, one might argue one of the witchiest of days, Halloween, right, Samhain, that veil, it's very thin. And we also just had a full moon, so we're still basking in the energy of this full moon that we just had. And so I felt like, okay, let's go in here, let's clear this out. Let's really start to like shift this in an even bigger way. So again, thank you all so much for being here. I am an energy worker first and foremost. So what that means is I will be doing energy work on the entire group. I'm a channel, and an intuitive, so I'll be feeling into whatever needs to happen. I don't have anything planned, right? All I know is we're here to clear these things. We're going to use the moon energy, the full moon clearing energies. We're going to be shifting the sisterhood wound. We're going to be shifting the witch wound, and especially those two together. I will say too, before we begin, I've been witnessing a lot lately for a while now. Women turning against women, attacking other women. It feels a lot like high school, right? Some maiden energy or a lot of maiden energy. So I think that's part of what has prompted this is once we get to a point where we no longer feel like we need to attack other women. Of course, we can all have our differences of opinions. That's entirely welcome, but there's just this other thing that's been happening for a while, and I'm ready. I hope you are all ready too. During this process, if it gets a little too intense for you, please feel free. You can kind of step out of it, step away. No worries there. You got to do whatever feels good for you. But I will put a little bit of a trigger warning on this because I don't know exactly what's going to drop in. And also, these are two highly charged energies. Typically, I would teach them separate, or I would show up and do a clearing for them separately. But it was very, very clear to me that they needed to be connected today. The specific connection between these two woundings. So there's a lot of different facets that we can go towards. So with that, for all of you who can, if you're not in your car or something else like that, if it feels good, you can go ahead and just take a couple of nice deep cleansing breaths. When I do this, I still keep it really natural. So I do go in through the nose and out through the mouth. Try to expand my belly into the nose, out through the mouth. I weave dragon medicine into most things I do. So the dragons are wanting to step forward. And this makes sense. Dragon medicine is all about embodiment. Dragon medicine is all about being who you truly are unapologetically, fully expressed. So I knew they were going to drop in. The first thing we're going to do is I'm going to bring in the deep blue dragons, which are experts at clearing physical space. So it's going to come into my physical space and it's going to come into all of your physical spaces. So above you, below you, to the left, to the right, forward, behind you, and every single space in between. They're also going to hold sacred space right now. So keeping this energetic space nice and tidy and free from any sort of disruption or interference. Speaking of interference, I do have a 5-month-old, so she might end up in here on my lap. We just roll with that. She's my little baby dragon. She often will act up during clearings. I think it's because she wants to be in the energy, so just know that might happen. And I'm just feeling into the energetics of this group. There is a lot coming up in the heart space, all the way up into the throat, into the third eye. Like it's so much that I feel sometimes when I feel a lot of energy, it's like I cut onions, like it's that much. So I'm gonna go ahead and start clearing that for all of you during this process. You can feel into what I'm bringing you into or like what I'm describing, or you can go into your own experience. If you want to put your hands on your body in a certain area, so like right now, there's a lot in the heart space moving up. If it feels good, you can do that. If you want to move your body during this, please feel free. I'm just shaking my hands right now to clear this out. Okay. So some of you have resistance to this process. That's okay. That's completely understandable. We have these woundings are there to protect us, to try to keep us safe. So if you feel like you are indeed ready and willing to release the witch wound, release the sisterhood wound, and we'll be doing a lot of clearing up of the energies that get released when you unlock this. Please go ahead and, I think you're all muted. You can say it out loud. You don't have to say it out loud, but something to the effect of, I know, release my sisterhood and witch wound now. I am ready, willing, able, and open for this healing now. Yeah, so one more time for anyone who missed it. I am ready to heal the sisterhood at which wound now. I am open, ready, willing, and able to heal this now. Awesome. If you feel you're still having trouble here, and that actually unlocked a lot for a lot of you, you can take your hands and place them so that they're palms up, or the palms, the inside of your arms and your palms are exposed. So if you're laying down, you can palm up. If you're sitting, you can put your hands facing up in your lap, whatever feels good. This exposes the yin, or the feminine part of our body, the receiving part of us. So it's just going to help you to receive more. Okay, that's better. I love all of you. Some people are like, what? What am I doing here? Like, what did I get myself into? We're just shifting energy. We're just moving energy where there's too much energy to where there's not enough energy. That is the crux of traditional Chinese medicine and, any sort of energy work. And so we're just going straight into the energy today. Okay, so I'm going to bring in masking, which Dragon wants to come in to help. I'm going to be doing 5-element Dragon Fire Reiki as well. That feels really important, which means we're going to be going into the meridian system. Meridians are energy highways in the body. I use them. I'm a licensed acupuncturist as well, so I use them all the time. I teach them in 5-element Dragon Fire Reiki as well. They correspond to different emotional states. So the gold dragons are coming in. We are in the metal element in traditional Chinese medicine, which is all about sorrow, sadness, and letting go. So bringing the gold dragons in, breathing fire down to the crown, down your backs, up the front. I'm going to invite you to take at least 3 breaths with me. We're going to breathe in through your nose, and as you do that, you're going to touch your tongue to the top palate of your mouth, and then when you exhale out of your mouth, you're going to release your tongue. So in through the nose, touching your tongue to the top palate of your mouth, and release the tongue. Exhale 2 more times. Breathe in through the nose, touching your tongue to the top palate of your mouth. And release the tongue, breathe out. And one more time. Breathe in through the nose, touching your tongue to the top palate of your mouth. And exhale, releasing the tongue. This is called the microcosmic orbit. It connects 2 of the meridians together. So we're just pouring, it's actually purple dragon fire in through these 2 meridians. We're going to get that spinning. So think violet flame for those of you who are familiar with that. It's a very purifying energy. And then we are activating and calling forward all energy, densities, distortions, oaths, contracts, blood oaths, agreements around betrayal. So sisterhood and witch wound betrayal. So it's the thread. This is the common thread of the clearing today. We're also going to pull in the clearing energies of the moon. So if you imagine the moon above you, it literally is above all of us, right? You can't see it right now, but it's there. We're going to pull that energy into, it's just going to encapsulate this entire healing. I'm going to move energy into the lung meridian. You don't need to know where this is, but if you're keen, it goes down into the thumb from on the chest. Okay, so take some breaths. On the exhale, giving yourself permission to release sorrow and sadness. If you do get emotional during this, please release that emotion, cry, sing, move. You might not have this clearing right now. It might come on later. So it might come like at a very unexpected time. You're driving, you're in the shower, something like that. Please let that release. Okay. And I need to say some activating things to help some of you connect to this energy. I completely get that. I threw you all into the lion's den. Okay, so I'm going to say some statements. They might be, they might trigger something for you. They might not. They might not be for you. They might be for the collective. But either way, I'm going to say the statement, and then you're going to see where in your body that activates. I'm going to see what it activates in this group, and then I'm going to help move and clear that energy out through the meridian system with the dragon fire. Okay, so how many lifetimes have you been betrayed by your sisters? And I don't want you to actually try to answer this question. You might get an awareness or you might not. We're being in the energy. So that energy, we're going to disrupt, and uncreate that. So every single lifetime that you have been betrayed by a sister, whether an actual biological sister or someone you considered a sister or another woman. There's a lot of heart clearing happening right now. So we're going to go into the heart meridian too. Again, you don't need to know where that is. I'm going to move violet flame energy through the heart meridian on both sides bilaterally, through the lung meridian. We're going to transmute this into the solar plexus. There's a lot of solar plexus coming up. So that's where your diaphragm is located. It's between the heart and the belly. The third chakra, if you're familiar with that, it's the center of our power. It's probably why the gold dragons dropped in. The color there is yellow. It's solar, sun, right? Very golden. I'm gonna put my hands there. There's a lot of green energy coming in now. That's the color of one of the colors of the heart chakra. And I'm going to move the energy. So if you imagine the back of your heart between your shoulder blades, betrayal energies, a lot of times they live there. So right between the shoulder blades, think about getting stabbed in the back. So, right, how many times have you been stabbed in the back in this lifetime and past lifetimes by your sisters? Oof. How many of you are currently being stabbed in the back? Feel it or are anticipating it, and everywhere that's keeping you silent, everywhere that's keeping you, the word that's coming up is strangled. So like the feeling of strangulation, being strangled, being trapped. I feel a lot of silent suffering happening. So everywhere you are silently suffering because you are afraid of expressing yourself. Here's the witch wound piece of it too. You're afraid to express what's really happening in you, that you're going to be destroyed in some way, whether it's just your reputation, whether it's actually hurt in some way, something taken away. That's coming up in this group, like worry that when you express something will be taken away. How many things have been taken away from you for using your voice, right? We're stepping more into the witch wound now. Okay, we're going to clear the throat chakra out. Pick a tone that feels good to you. I'm just going to say ah, but maybe you want to do om or hum. We're going to actually activate the vocal cords to help move this energy out of the throat chakra. So this is going to help specifically you to use your voice. So I'm going to do a breath in and then shake it off. Another breath in. Check your posture now. So if you're internally rotated with your shoulders, bring your shoulders up to your ears and then bring them all the way back so that your heart is being exposed. Open the heart. Turn your palms outward. Giving yourself permission to receive now. There's a lot of that solar energy coming in. There's a tremendous amount of divine masculine energy coming in. Again, no wonder the gold dragons came in. It's a very masculine energy, gold, solar codes. Give yourself a moment here to receive. We're going to take a little bit of a break. Not a break, we're just going to take a moment to receive before we continue to clear. So imagine the sun coming in, right? So we had moon energy, now we're bringing sun energy in. A lot of solar codes. It's very overcast here today. So there's not much sun coming through, but just access that energy anyway. Somewhere on planet Earth, it is shining. The sun is shining. So if you could imagine feeling that on your face, the warmth of the sun. And again, palms up, out, so that you can receive the solar codes into your body. Makes it much easier to receive. Drop shoulders, right? Heart open. Okay, a lot is coming in now around the divine masculine, specifically anger and feelings of betrayal around the divine masculine for twofold reasons. One, for not protecting us and those we love and care about, for putting us in this position, right? For not protecting us, and also for being the perpetrators. So everywhere masculine, right? This energy, men specifically, has been a demon and demonized in your life, in your past lives. Everywhere that you feel like you need this energy consciously or subconsciously, anti-consciously, unconsciously, right? To protect you from the masculine now, from the patriarchal system where it's actually not serving you. Would you be willing to release that now? And if you are willing to, you can say yes out loud or in your mind. Thank you. You guys are adorable. Some of you are like, oh my God, yes, get that out. Just feel it. I know, right? Like we want to receive from our men, like we want to receive from the divine masculine. We want to be held in that way. We don't want to be the ones always doing the holding. And it's both from our sisters, right? Wanting to be held by our sisters, being accepted, being loved, being acknowledged just as we are without any proving energies, performative energies, without any people pleasing, but then also by the divine masculine. So we're actually gonna call in all of us. I invite you to do this with me, please. It will be much more powerful is if we all now call in and call forward all of the divine masculine on planet Earth, right? So what we're doing is we are calling forward all of our men to rise into their divine masculine. And it's not from a place of anger or even hurt, it's from a place of just like love and honoring the way in which we desire to be loved and honored. It's much more powerful when we move from that heart. If any of you have resistance to this, that's okay. You don't have to do it. Don't feel like you need to. And it's really very simple. As soon as you've decided you're going to do it, you're doing it. Okay. All right, you guys have all seen Care Bears, right? If you haven't, Care Bears, they get into a line and then like they through their hearts, like they just like blast out all of this like loving, caring energy. So I'm seeing that we're kind of all gonna get into this like Care Bear place and we're gonna be blasting this love to ourselves, to each other here on the live, here, anyone watching the replay, but then also every single human being on planet Earth regardless. Like this is how you transcend so much is through coming back to the heart, to the space of unconditional love. And there's no bypassing here. We feel all of it. We honor every single emotion that maybe others don't honor or want to like step over. We're not doing that at all. It's all included. It's all being loved. Any hate, any anger, any sorrow, any sadness, any confusion, like all of it, it's all welcome here. So nothing's being bypassed, but we are coming back into our heart space. And so if you feel good doing this with me, we're just going to beam. So if you imagine, if you're visual, you can imagine a beam of energy. For me, it's very pink coming through my heart space out to all of you. It might be a different color, might look different. It's coming to all of you, to myself as well, to my former selves, to your former selves. So all lifetimes, this crosses and transcends all lifetimes in the past and the future. So we're sending this into the future as well. Energy work is not limited to this moment. We're sending it to every single human on planet Earth, regardless. Because this is what shifts things when we get to this place of true overflow. Some of you are sprouting wings right now. So if you are feeling like a lot of wings happening, that is happening. Some of them are very angelic looking. Some of them are more like dragons or like pixies or fairies. But there's a lot of wing action happening. It's just absolutely beautiful. So if that feels good to you now, you can just like let that part of you out. That's what I'm getting here is we all require more space, but the only one actually limiting the amount of space you're taking up is you, right? And this is a good thing. So take up space right now energetically. So wherever you are taking up space, please double it. And as soon as you've thought it, you've done it. So doubling the space now, tripling the space now, quadrupling the space now. And so when I say space, this is the energy around your body. This is the auric field. The more space we have, the more we tend to feel at peace and at ease. When we start to become reactive, when we get really stuck in our own heads, or something occurs that makes us feel really unsafe, we tend to collapse, right? The energy collapses, and that's why people talk about like, I feel so small. That's because they don't know it necessarily, but their energy is collapsing in on itself. So we need to push that out, completely out. And then we need to hold that. Some of you did it and then you just collapsed right back down. And that's okay. We're not used to that. It can be scary. It's kind of like, think of like they're showing me like a canary in a bird cage. You let the canary out of the bird cage and it might want to go right back in, and that's fine. You can go right back in. But what I want to tell you, we're not going to force ourselves to take up more space than we're ready to. I don't believe in that. But what I am going to tell you, if you feel like the canary in the cage, the door is open, right? The key unlocked it, the door is open. Whenever you are ready, you can come out. And that doesn't have to be this moment. It can be anytime you want, and you can never come out. It's completely up to you. And you're going to be 100% unconditionally loved regardless, by spirit, Father Spirit, by Mother Earth, by your highest self. Our highest self is unconditionally loving towards us. So accessing the higher self now. As soon as you've thought it, you've done it. We're going to bring in our higher selves. Okay, this is freaking cool, guys. So I would like to invite you all to access your higher self, your highest self. I'm sorry. Your higher self, highest self. I like highest self. You can pick. And so your highest self is going to step into your body. So imagine your highest self is behind you right now. So if you're visual, you might be able to actually perceive or see them in your mind's eye, or you might just feel them. You might not even be able to see them, and that's okay. You might not see or feel them. That is okay too. Believe me, you just being here and being willing to participate is more than enough. It's the most important thing. This is just like cherry on top when you get to see or feel it. So just take a moment. And the purpose of bringing in our highest selves right now is our highest self is already healed. Okay. So The soul tends to be the part of us, depending on how you define soul, but when I define soul, it's the part of us that has brought in the generational wounding and the past life wounding that's in the soul. So when you bring in your highest self, it is the ultimate healer of your soul. Nobody else is required for this, right? So when we move our highest self into our bodies, we are giving it access to help us to heal on the deepest level. Bring it in. Okay. So I am accessing, I'm looking at my highest self right now behind me. I can see her. It's a little interesting to ask you all to look at something that's behind you. So if it helps with the visual to see your highest self in front of you first, or if it feels better for you to bring your highest self from the front into your body instead of stepping into the back, do that. For me, having her come into my back, and it makes sense because it's like, oh, she's having my back. Your right, our highest self is having our back. And that's so much of what's coming up right now with the sisterhood wound and the witch wound and this masculine wounding as well, is this feeling of not feeling like somebody has our backs. So, but feel free to do it in front of you. And then understand that once this highest self, if it hasn't already stepped in, because I get that for some of you, you're already there, and that's fine. Enjoy. For those of you who are with me who have not had your highest self step in yet, what's happening is they're melding together. So again, that soul, the wounding, every hurt part of you is going to be met with love, unconditional love by your highest self. So they're going to merge together. So you might feel that merging or that connection. So I'm going to go ahead, invite all of our highest selves in now. They haven't already stepped in. And then you might watch those energies meld together. It's not that the highest self is taking over the wounded self. They are melding together. So if you think of like chocolate ice cream and vanilla ice cream, and you do like the swirl when you go, get a sundae, it's like a swirl. So they'll swirl together and they'll connect. And then I'm going to invite you all to say this now out loud or inside. I give my soul permission to be healed by my highest self in its entirety now. So one more time. I give my soul, or you can say the wounded part of me, complete permission to be healed by my highest self now. I'm just going to stay here for a minute. While this is happening, there's a tremendous amount of white light. While this is happening, I'm going to bring in the pure white dragon from Orion to bring in white light through the urinary bladder meridian that goes all along the back. It's the longest meridian in the body, so you don't need to worry about this. I'm just letting you know. And that clears fear out of the body, and it also helps us to let go. I'm also going to clear the kidney meridian very quickly. That's also corresponds to fear. Just a lot of white light coming in. So like white diamond light, white flame. And then there's blue flame coming in as well. That's coming down in the front throat, down into the heart space. This is for expression. This is to help create and allow you to express yourself. So water dragon energy coming in too. So the energy of like a deep nourishment. Okay, cool. And then we're gonna let all of this continue. So this is like a healing, it's an activation. Activations continue. They don't stop here. This is what activates it. It turns on this healing. It will continue. We're gonna slow this down now, give a lot of gratitude to ourselves, to each other, to the dragons for dropping in. And then once you feel like, okay, cool, I can kind of bring this to a close. Now, if it helps, wiggle fingers, wiggle toes, kind of move around a little bit. Take a deep breath. And then if your eyes are closed, open them, come back. So as I said, this activation will continue. You can call upon also this visualization of your highest self stepping in at any point during your day. Call in your highest self. Wherever you're stuck, and this transcends the sisterhood wound, this transcends the witch wound, wherever you're feeling stuck, mired, call in your highest self and allow it to take some of this pressure off of you and also clear up some of this density. So I'm going to go ahead and stop on the recording.